Sometimes we all need a pick-me-up, and what better way to kick back and beat the blues than with a classic feel-good movie.
We're Rose and Rosie, YouTubers, podcasters, and movie lovers. We're married to each other and we share a passion for films that make us feel good. So here are our top picks of movies that'll get you smiling, and you can stream all of them right now on Prime Video.
Sylvie's Love is the romance movie to end all romance movies. Although it came out in 2020, it's set in the early 60s and feels as classic as Breakfast at Tiffany's, with its old-school Hollywood vibe. It has that gorgeous vintage camera work that we saw in films like Carol and One Night in Miami. And if the backdrop of bygone New York wasn't stunning enough, you should see the lead characters. Tessa Thompson and Nnamdi Asomugha play star-crossed lovers who just can't seem to catch a break. Whether it's interfering parents...
A young lady should never lavish gushing praise on a young man.
Or a budding jazz career, life keeps getting in the way of what everyone can see is true love.
This scene in particular feels like La La Land meets The Notebook.
With the quiet, rainy streets and romantic slow dancing. Together with the sultry, saxophone-infused soundtrack
And the will they, won't they romance.
this film is not only bound to get you feeling good, but in the mood for love.
When talking about feel-good films, where would we be without the era that brought us Back to the Future and E.T., the 80s? It would be unthinkable for me to not include an 80s classic on our list. So, let's talk about The Breakfast Club. This film gave me very unrealistic expectations of what detention would be like, when 5 very different students, a princess, an athlete, a criminal, a brain, and a basket case, from different walks of life, have to endure a Saturday detained by a power-hungry principal.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
They discover that perhaps you should never judge a book by its cover, and that the unlikeliest people can become friends.
9 hours of detention might not be enough time to change your life, but it's plenty of time for a makeover, a make-out session, and deep, meaningful conversations. The Breakfast Club will leave you with an urge to turn the music up high and dance the angst away. A film you're not likely to forget about.
So, have you seen any guys that you think you're cute yet?
From one classic teen movie to another, we can't get enough of Mean Girls. Who hasn't uttered the words?
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Who hasn't tried to make fetch happen?
Okay, that was so fetch.
Who hasn't personally been victimised by their own Regina George? But in case you've been living under a rock, let me explain to you the glory that is Mean Girls.
What is the 411?
Up until now, Katie Harron has been homeschooled. On her first day of high school, she is, well, schooled in a brand new world of fashion, social status, and where she can and can't sit.
You can't sit with us!
The most popular clique, the Plastics, take her under their highly coveted wings. But when she strikes up a flirtation with Aaron Samuels, main plastic Regina George's ex-boyfriend, Katie finds herself failing girl code.
High school might not be a cake made out of rainbows and smiles.
But there are some feel-good moments about figuring out who your real friends are.
And there are plenty more laugh-out-loud moments like this one.
I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
So giddy up for a scathing satire that's bound to get you smiling.
Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet.
Who's that?
D?
Yeah. Hello?
The next film on our list is one I've watched so many times I could perform the entire script for you in my sleep. If you thought the Plastics were shallow, wait until you meet Cher. Set in the 90s, my favourite era, and loosely based on the plot of Jane Austen's Emma, we follow the life of Cher, a rich, fashion-obsessed high schooler who befriends the new girl Ty and decides to give her a makeover. Set in Beverly Hills, this film is one of the best teen films of all time. I can't tell you how much I envy Cher and her best friend Dion, and how I wanted to wear one of their crazy fashion victim hats. But I digress.
When Cher's socially conscious ex-stepbrother, played by my boyfriend Paul Rudd, comes to stay at her house, Cher is inspired to do good deeds and attempts to set up a series of romantic matches between her friends and even her teachers. But when her romantic matches go awry, Cher's privileged life takes a negative turn. It turns out that doing good deeds isn't always easy, and in ways of the heart, Cher is totally clueless.
I feel like such a bonehead.
But not all is lost, and even boneheads can find their way. Sit back and enjoy the 90s outfits, the teenage naivety, and the terrible driving. Also, did I mention Paul Rudd?
I'm majorly, totally, but crazy in love with Josh.
How could we not include a queer movie on this list? Becks has everything, including an incredible cast: Lena Hall, Hayley Kiyoko, Mina Savari, emotional songwriting, and a heartwarming romance. Based on the real life of musician Alyssa Robbins, who wrote most of the songs for the film, Becks is centered on the titular lesbian singer-songwriter who moves back to her childhood home in St. Louis after a failed relationship. She's struggling to find a purpose, deal with her strict Catholic mother, and move forward in a small town whilst mending her broken heart.
And if that doesn't sound at all feel good, there's actually something deeply comforting about watching someone else's life fall apart while you sit on your sofa and devour a bag of popcorn.
As a same-sex couple, we also found the queer intimate scenes impressive, to say the least. The chemistry between Lena Hall and Mina Savari, who has been taking guitar lessons with Becks, is palpable.
Particularly in this scene where they sing a gorgeous duet. This is a film that makes you feel warmer and richer for being a part of Becks' life.
I don't have to breathe. It's easy.
Our next feel-good film is bound to have you feeling uplifted and empowered. Based on a true story, we follow the path of single mother Virginia, played by Emmy Award winner Uzo Aduba, who is trying to keep her 15-year-old son from skipping school and joining the wrong crowd.
Please, he is 15. He can't have a record.
Set in Washington, D.C. in the early 2000s, she attempts to place her son in private school to save him from an uncertain future, but she can't afford the tuition. So, she launches a movement to change the system that's keeping her son and countless other students from realising their potential.
Miss Virginia is gripping, tear-jerking, and like most true stories of amazing people, inspiring. It reminds me of Erin Brockovich. I really enjoyed watching the story of a woman doing everything she can to be a good parent. It shows that we all have the power to create change, no matter who we are or where we come from.
There's just so much power standing here. There's so much purpose. There is so much strength right here. Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Speaking of purpose, porpoise, our final film is Muriel's Wedding.
A film that Rose begged me to watch.
ABBA-obsessed Muriel, played by our fave, Toni Collette, is a bit of a social outcast and steals money from her corrupt politician father in order to go on a vacation with her so-called friends and escape her small Australian town, Porpoise Spit. But when her friends ditch her, Muriel, who wants nothing more than to get married, is left feeling lonelier than ever.
That is, until she bumps into fellow outcast and old high school acquaintance, Rhonda.
Played by the Wild's Rachel Griffiths.
They strike up a friendship, which prompts a brilliant lip-syncing routine to ABBA's Waterloo.
Complete with choreography and matching costumes.
It's guaranteed to make you smile. It seems all Muriel's wishes are coming true, with her new friendship and a spontaneous wedding to a South African swimmer desperate to join Team Australia in the upcoming Olympics. But, as usual, things go awry when her friend Rhonda falls ill and her marriage is not all it's cracked up to be.
My room. Your room.
How can you not root for Muriel? She's strange, lovable, and one of a kind, and you just want her to find the love she deserves. Just be prepared to quote its classic lines in an Australian accent.
Better finish your orgasm.
Whether you're looking for something cheesy and cheerful, romantically epic, or powerful and inspiring, our Prime Video recommendations are sure to put a smile on your face.
Which feel-good film will you be watching first? Comment below and hit subscribe for more awesome recommendations like ours.